We are looking for wins, and Cardinal Nation celebrates those victories. Block after block after block, and it's not even our house. This show promises to be a layup as we wrap our heads around the stellar play. Sections are alive and well, so jump for joy and wave goodbye. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. And you've changed a little from a week ago. You grew the beard back.
I did.
And I think you took the lifts out of the shoes. But you're still maybe just a bit taller than the little Joe.
I feel a little like I fit a little bit better this week. And
welcome back.
I'm glad to be back, and a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of exciting things happening in Cardinal Nation. It's been a fun week. I got back on Friday evening, and on Saturday was treated to a double upset.
So much fun.
It was a lot of fun. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But the season is still going. We've got some great things that are happening at the end of this week.
Yep.
So we'll have some more fun stuff to talk about again next week on Sports Night. We'll talk first about the boys hockey team. Their season ended as most would have predicted with a lopsided loss in the first round of the section tournament. Cardinals were 0-15 this year and drew number 1 ranked Maple Grove in the first round of the 5AA tournament. They would be no match for the mighty Crimson on their best day, but with almost half of their varsity roster either hurt or on spring break, it made it almost too easy for Maple Grove. Cardinals coaches knew they were up against it, but hoping for the best. And the Crimson bring the pressure right away. Finn Brink flies in, hits the brakes, fires a shot. Mark Danik able to grab it with the glove. Danik in his first ever varsity start, able to keep the game scoreless for the first 5 minutes. Crimson jamming away, but Danik able to scramble and get on the loose puck. But the pressure eventually pays off for the Crimson, and once the dam broke, Maple Grove pours it on. Brink again winning a race to the puck in the corner. Comes to the top of the circle, beats Danik with a wrist shot. Brink had 5 points for the Crimson. He wins the puck again out of the corner, plays it out to the top. Cal Thomas with the shot. Cal Thomas has the, Matthew Gruss has the tip. That made it 4-0 midway through the first. Still in the first, keeper Jack Weineke fires it ahead for Brink. He moves the puck, but it comes back to him. He nets his second goal of the period. Crimson had 8-0 lead after the first. And they just got stronger in the second. Great entry here. Grant Zick, left alone in the slot, will fire the one-timer past Bennett Moe, getting his first ever varsity action in net, and it's what's called the trial by fire. Crimson were up 18-0 after 2. They only had 2 in the final period, but they easily cruised to the 20-0 victory and the Cardinals' season. And they blew past Totino Grace 7-1, and Centennial, the number 2 seed, took care of Spring Lake Park 9-1 in the first round, and took care of Blaine 6-2 in the semifinal. So number 1 Maple Grove faces number 2 Centennial in the championship on Thursday. Maple Grove scored 9 against Centennial the first time and 6 or 7 the second time they faced the Cougars. So that'll be a good one. That's 2 pretty good hockey teams. The 2 teams that handed the Cardinals their 2 worst losses of the year. Maple Grove's awfully tough to beat. I watched the game, or a good chunk of the game, while we were down in Mexico. And a number of the boys were watching the game as well. And that Maple Grove team is pretty good. They're fun to watch.
Obviously Coon Rapids missing some key players. Maple Grove did pretty much what they wanted to do. And in that third period, you mentioned they only scored a couple of goals, but they put on a passing clinic. All they did for the most part of that third period was just pass the puck around. They didn't shoot a lot. Obviously they were up 18-0 at the time and got a couple of goals. But you had to feel bad for the Cardinals, the boys on that team, because they took a beating, unfortunately. But
they get to see what it's like to play the best.
And they did.
Maple Grove's got a really good chance to be raising the championship banner at the beginning of next year.
Before we leave hockey, you're a great hockey mind.
I don't know about
so on
that
one Maple Grove goal where the goaltender started the passing, would the goaltender get an assist on that?
Only if he had been within there had only been one other pass, yes.
Okay, because we were talking about that.
There were 2 passes.
Right.
So he passed it ahead. Finn Brink had it. He passed it. and then it came back to him. So now there's 2 passes.
Okay.
So
Clear it up.
He did not get.
He did not get an assist. We were wondering about that.
Well, and I think there was a third player that touched it in between there too. But yes, he would if Brink had accepted the pass, taken it in, shot, and scored.
That would have been an assist.
Absolutely,
Okay.
he would have gotten an assist.
Well, the wrestling team is continuing its tradition of success by qualifying 5 guys for this week's state tournament, and all 5 are making their second appearance at the big dance. This year's tournament was very different than in years past. Because of the pandemic, they switched to a super section format. Normally, the top 2 from each section qualify for state, and it's a 16-man bracket. This season, the top 4 from each section moved on to super section state preliminaries, and the top 2 from that tournament are moving on, meaning an 8-man state tournament. The Cardinals were able to get 6 wrestlers to the super section round, which they hosted the field house on Saturday. Because not all the brackets were full, some only needed 1 win to advance. But impressive to see the Cardinals qualifying guys in 5 straight weight classes from 138 to 170. Demetrius Seals at 152, Eli Madimba at 160, and Alex Kowalczyk at 170, all advanced with 2 pins. Seals needed just 88 seconds total for his 2 pins, and both Kowalczyk's pins were under a minute as well. Enoch Madimba won his first round at super sections, but his season ended with back-to-back losses. We have some highlights courtesy of the Cardinals. Dalen Jones won 2 decisions to get to the championship. Good double-leg takedown on Brainerd's Gabe Wagner. Jones lost a tough 6-5 decision in the final, but qualifies for the 13-10 win in the true second match. Eli Madimba made his state as sophomore, but missed last season due to an injury. Now he's on his way back. After a pin in the first round, he beat Darren Roth of Bemidji to get to the final. He lost, but also qualifies with a true second win. Nice job there. Last year, the Cards had 2 section champions. This year, they have 3. Demetrius Seals trailing late in the 3rd period. The championship at 152 uses the Granby roll for a reversal on Jonas Wilmer of Wilmer. He adds some back points, 8-4 decision, super section champion. Coming up, Alex Kowalczyk continues to dominate this season. He's undefeated despite 2 separate COVID pauses. He's earned the name the Meat Grinder by putting the hurt on his opponents. Grabs a championship with a pin and a pair of decisions at super sections. And heavyweight Gavin Layton also stays unbeaten this year. He had a pair of pins on Saturday, then beat Anoka's Tyler Nebelung in the championship for the 2nd time this season. Layton had won 82 of his last 83 matches, including back-to-back section championships.
Yeah, essentially with the super section format, really that last round of super sections was really like the first round of state tournament, because that's where, because it's an 8-man tournament now at state. So 5 guys advancing to the tournament that starts Thursday at St. Michael, Albertville. We're still waiting to know if we're going to be able to send a camera there.
We're keeping our fingers
very
crossed.
much hoping that we'll have some highlights. We will definitely have something to talk about next week, hoping that Gavin Layton will be able to finish it off and get himself that championship. Again, 82 of the last 83 matches. That's unbelievable.
It is amazing.
And the only one he lost was last year's state championship. Alex Kowalczyk got through this season undefeated. He's been outstanding. Both all the other guys, Demetrius Seals and Dalen Jones, both dropped down weight classes. They were wrestling at higher weight classes all year long, dropped down, and now they're gonna be very tough to beat. Just very exciting to see what they're doing and how they're continuing the success. And we've talked about it for years. The wrestling program has been the most consistent quality program at Coon Rapids in the 23 years that we've been doing this.
They have.
They just continue to reload. A lot of that credit goes to Coach Bob Adams and his coaching staff.
Oh, absolutely.
They put in countless hours, not only with the high school program, but also with Matt Bandits. So they know these kids from the time they're in kindergarten and 1st grade, and they're encouraging them and giving them the tools they need to become successful. And over the last couple of years, we've seen a number of state champions from Coon Rapids, and that just leads to more kids being interested, and it's phenomenal. And we wish all 5 of those guys the best. I want to be talking about 3, 4, maybe even 5 state champions.
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice?
Year.
And how cool is it? I've always wanted a cool nickname, the Meat Grinder.
He was the Big K.
Yeah,
but now he's the Meat Grinder.
That's just a great nickname.
And Gavin Layton's the Polar Bear.
Right. Yep.
And what does the Polar Bear do? He snacks.
Yep.
That's what he does. But yeah, that's one thing that we have not seen them do is crowned 2 state champions in the same year. Will this be the year?
Let's hope so. I hope so.
I think it very well could
Yes.
be. Well, the gymnastics team, their last match of the regular season was on the 13th. We weren't able to get the results in time for last week's show. We have them for you now. They lose to the Blaine Bengals 130.85 to the Cardinals 111.025. Cassie Rushmeyer, their leader on beam, took 3rd place with an 8.125. Also the leader on vault with a 4th place finish with an 8.475. Lana Vang was 5th place on the floor. Cecilia Aureli was 6th place on the bars. Cassie Rushmeyer finished 5th in the all-around. At sections last week, Cardinals put up one of their best scores of the season. None of their girls were able to qualify as a place winner. Top 15 at the tournament finish in places. Nobody able to crack that, but still some pretty impressive finishes. Cassie Rushmeyer led them in vault and floor. Ada Drummy led them on the bars and the beam. Cecilia Aureli was their top finisher on vault with an 8.275. And when you look at it, especially the 8.775 for Cassie on the vault, 8.275 on floor. It's Aureli 8.275 on the vault. Those still aren't able to crack the top 15. There's some pretty good competition there.
I was just going to say that.
But the most important thing is, they finished strong. They didn't have to pause. They kept everybody healthy. They got people healthy. Girls like Ada Drummy started the season injured, able to come in and help them. And the most important part, 114.3, I believe, is their best team score of the season. Always good to see a team finishing with their best score.
Yeah, we've seen them score in the 111s for the most part.
112 in that neighborhood.
Yep.
So to get a 114 is a little bit of showing that improvement through the year, and that's what sports is all about. If you can finish playing your best, that's what it's all about. Well, it's been an amazing season for the swimming and diving squad, and they finished strong at last week's state championships. Cardinals had 5 individuals qualify in 7 events, plus 2 relay teams. They had 4 all-state finishes and set 4 new school records. And at the same time, they scored the most points at state of any Coon Rapids team in more than 20 years. We have some video of a couple of the finals, a very different atmosphere at the University of Minnesota Aquatic Center, without fans and only half the field competing at a time. We start with the 200 medley relay. Will Melsha, Tyler Schultz, Nick Melsha, and Brian Tran in the second lane from the top. They break the school record again. Their time of 1 minute 35.25 seconds is more than 2 seconds faster than the record they had at state last year. This year, they're 6th place overall, and they're all state finishers. So congratulations on that. A 2-second, that's pretty impressive. Junior Will Melsha qualified in 2 events and finished all state in both. First up, the 200 IM. Melsha finished second from the bottom, posted a time of 1:53.21, finishes 7th overall. An even more impressive outing for Melsha in the 100 backstroke, again second from the bottom, sets a new school record at 50.83 seconds, good enough for 5th place and another all-state finish. The 4th all-state finisher is Tyler Schultz in the 100 breaststroke. He's at the top in the green shorts, and his time of 56.52 seconds is another school record, an all-state finish of 6th place, and a time that will get him All-American consideration. Those were just the top performers, but all the qualifiers were impressive. Nick Melsha finished his season at state in the 200 freestyle, finishing 21st in 1 minute 49.29 seconds. Jack Simmer was 14th in diving with a score of 330.70. Tyler Schultz was 10th in the 100 butterfly. His time of 50.79, good enough for 2nd in school history. Brian Tran also qualified for the 100 breaststroke. He was 11th at state. His time of 57.69 is 2nd in school history. It beat the previous school record, but it was slower than Schultz, who had finished 6th. So he has to settle for 2nd all time. Amazing that they both beat the previous school record
it is amazing.
at state. And the 400 freestyle relay team of Will and Nick Melsha, Abba Mayanya, and Nick Tran set another school record in 3 minutes 15.85 seconds, which was 17th place at state. What a year it has been for that group, and how fun to see them finish as strong as they did.
They really did, and it was fun all season long. It was really fun to read Coach Donaldson's emails that he'd sent. And you could tell the excitement just in his writing and the fact that they were so successful all year long. Just the one loss, and that was to Maple Grove for the section title or for the conference title. So that was exciting, and give credit to those guys. And I think that breeds a lot of success. And I think you'll see those kind of numbers again as this program
they were
continues.
really hoping to get a team, get to state as a
Yep.
team, finish second in section. Still pretty impressive. Amazing year, and unfortunately they're going to lose a number of those guys. But a lot of those guys are coming back. Tyler
Yep.
Schultz will be
Yep.
back. Will Melsha will be
Yep.
back. Nick Melsha is graduating.
Correct.
I think Brian Tran is also a senior, but he may also be a junior. So they're going to have a number of those guys that were at state this year coming back. So it'll still be fun for them next year.
Absolutely. Well, we'll move to some round ball. Both Cardinals basketball teams opened the section tournament against crosstown rival Blaine on Saturday. For the boys, well, they were 5th seed to the Bengals 4. Even though the Cardinals had one more win than Blaine, the Bengals won the only meeting of the year between the two. So they got the higher seed and the home court advantage for the opening round. In the first meeting, the Cardinals fell behind early and their comeback fell short. This time, they get out front and keep themselves there. Perimeter shooting, and a big reason why, Matthew Ellingson had 12 of his 17 points in the first half. A couple of big buckets in the final minute helped them stretch the lead. First, a three-pointer from Elijah Smith. That made it 37-31. Then, after a Bengal three, it's Jordan Doe with the answer at the buzzer. That helps the Cardinals take a 6-point lead in the locker room, up 40-34 at the break. Nice shot there as he drains it. This one stays close throughout, but the Cardinals able to hold on to the lead for almost the entire game. Elijah Smith stepped up big with 22 points to lead all scorers, including 3 from beyond the arc as he drops this shot. We're getting later in the game. Great team play from the Cardinals. Jordan Doe finds Ellingson all alone at the top of the key. They push the lead as high as 13 in the second half. You want to talk about dropping dimes? Check out this play from Armonte Henry. Draws 3 defenders, finds the lizard, Alex Beck, all alone underneath for the easy 2. We're into the final minute. Cardinals looking to salt it away, and Monty serving up another dish, this time giving Doe the easy basket. Doe and Henry each had 15 points in the game. At the end, the Cardinals walk away with an 80-67 win, ending the Bengals season and punching their ticket to face Andover in the section finals on Tuesday. Nice win there for the Cards.
Well, Saturday's victory put the Cardinals in the semifinals against the top-seeded Andover team, a team that beat them twice during the regular season, including a 33-point smackdown just 2 weeks earlier. The odds were definitely against them, but the Cardinals were committed to putting the pressure on the Huskies instead. Coon Rapids jumps to the lead early. Jordan Doe slipping a pass over the top to Elijah Smith for the easy basket inside. 7-3 Cardinals at that point. Well, the Huskies were the top seed for a reason. They were 13-5 and can shoot out the lights. Andrew Schumacher hits a three-pointer. He had 7 points off the bench for Andover in the first half. Late in the first, Sam Musungu hits another big three. That puts Andover in front 19-17 with less than 30 seconds left. But the Cardinals have the answer. Matthew Ellingson hits this one from the corner in the final seconds, gets Coon Rapids to the locker room with a 20-19 lead. Both teams pick up the pace in the second half. MJ Galama was limited by foul trouble, but this three, part of a 12-point effort for him, 26-21 Cardinals. Sophomore sensation Sam Musungu led all scorers with 13 of his 22 points coming in the second half. This drive tied the game at 33. You can see the intensity between the two teams. Stays close to the very end, though. Under 5 minutes left, game tied at 45. Elijah Smith unties it with a three from the top of the key and gives the Cardinals the lead for good. Smith and Armonte Henry each had team-high 14, but it's defense that seals the deal. Cards up 2 with 20 seconds left. Huskies go to Elijah Alexander down low. Smith comes up with a huge block. Ellingson the rebound. Coon Rapids able to hit some big free throws to secure the win. Smith's charity point right there made it a 4-point lead with less than 5 seconds left. Huskies' prayer goes unanswered, and the Cardinals get to celebrate on the Huskies' home floor, and they bid farewell to the top seed. 54-50 the final. Cardinals moving on to the section championship on Thursday. And this was a fun game.
Oh my gosh, it was.
You know, it was tense.
Yes.
MJ got into some foul trouble early, then fouled out late, and I don't think he has any fingernails left.
Yeah, probably
because
not.
he was over there just,
He was
squeezing.
willing. He was willing this team.
And I mean, and the Cardinals missed some free throws late in the game. They made just enough. That one by Elijah Smith to make it a 2-point or a 2-possession game with 5 seconds left really sealed the deal. But they had a couple of misses before that, and Andover had a couple of chances to tie it, and they weren't able to do it. So it was tense. It was fun. Sam Masunga is a really fun ball player to watch. But I've really liked watching this Coon Rapids team all year. Just to have a group of 5 like that that play together as well as they do. Not as much depth as you'd like to see. You'd like to see a little more contributions from your bench. But they're doing what they need to do. They've got that Blaine win without MJ, and that's huge for the confidence of the rest of the team.
Right.
And now they go to Duluth East to face the second-seeded Greyhounds, who scored a big win over
Forest Lake.
Forest Lake, the number 3 seed on Thursday or on Tuesday. So that we will have a camera up there. We will have highlights of that one for you next week.
I'm excited, and the Bigs came up strong. I mean, they worked that underneath game really well against Andover, and I thought the defensive effort
was so huge.
Was the biggest part of that win for them.
Ellingson had like 3 or 4 blocks in the first couple of minutes of that game that really set the tone. Elijah Smith came up with a number of big blocks. MJ had a couple of blocks. Everybody was just blocking shots.
Well, yeah, and Ellingson hitting that 3 at the end of the half really kind of, Andover started to take the momentum. Even though it was a low-scoring half, that 3 kind of gave that momentum back to Coon Rapids, and I think it just kind of put a little more pep in their step.
Yep, and they came out fast to start that second half, and
they did.
Andover kept coming back, but Coon Rapids always had the answer. It was a fun game to watch, and we talked about it throughout the game that because it was a low-scoring game and it was close, that definitely favored the lower seed as it always would. And this time it was Coon Rapids. We've seen a number of great contests between Coon Rapids and Andover in the sections. There was one, I believe it was 4 years ago after the win over Anoka with the big Sam Carver 3-pointer, and they were the higher seed against, I think Andover was like the 7th seed that year, and they beat the Cardinals in the semifinals, ended up going to state. They put the glass slipper on to get out of the section, but this time it's the Cardinals.
Cards have a great opportunity because I look at Duluth East schedule, and they don't play the same kind of schedule that Coon Rapids plays. So they play their game. They play good defense. They play well underneath. They hit their shots from outside. They've got a really good chance to advance to state.
If they can make it.
Yes.
It would be, I believe, according to Coach O's post last night, it would be their first state tournament appearance in 37 years.
Yeah, crazy.
Since 1983.
83. Yeah, crazy. Well, the girls team also opened the section tournament with a trip to Blaine on Saturday. It's been a rough year for the Lady Cards with just 1 win during the regular season, but they felt like they were playing their best at the right time, and this was a good draw for them. They could avoid getting in a big hole early. They had a good chance to pull off an upset. Cardinals scored the first 6 points of the game and never looked back. Offensive rebounds were a big key for the Cardinals' success. Kate Severson, following her own miss here, puts the Cards up 26-20 late in the first half. And then the ball never reaches the other end. Jenny and Tomboy jumps the passing lane, races to the basket. Coon Rapids led by as much as 10 in the first and went to the locker room up 34-26. More of Sam in the second. Jenny and Tomboy drives, but it won't fall. Ella Georgie's shot won't go either, and Tomboy again. She had a game-high career best 28 points against the Bengals. She wasn't the only one with a career night. Kate Severson had a monster game off the bench. The steal, the breakaway part of the 20-point effort for her. More domination on the offensive boards, and Tomboy with the original shot, then Nicole Post, then Tomboy again, and finally Post puts it home on the 4th chance, plus the foul. Cards lead they're up as high as 16 in the game. Well, they're able to seal the deal from the free throw line. The 6-seeded Cardinals ending the season of the 3-seeded Blaine Bengals and moving on to Tuesday's semi-round final.
Well, the upset over the Bengals extended the Cardinals' season, but if they really wanted to put on that glass slipper, they'd need to get it to another level. On Thursday, they were at Cambridge-Isani to face the 2nd seed Blue Jackets, a team that started the season by winning 10 of their first 11 games. Cardinals would need to be even better than they were on Saturday if they hope to reach the finals. Cambridge Isani starting the scoring with the long ball. Michaela Aumer was unconscious all night. She hits the three from the corner to make it 6-0 Blue Jackets. Just the start of a big night for her. Cardinals down, but not giving up. Great move right here by Benny Kalala. Spins and splits the defenders to lay it up and in. Cardinals leader all year has been Jenny and Tomway, and they go back to her to help cut into the Cambridge lead. Good basket in traffic midway through the first. Then they go back to her in the low post, spins to her left, scores, and that cuts it to a 10-point deficit. Final minute of the first, Cards get Rowan Tom behind the defense. Her shot won't fall, but in Tomway there to clean up the glass. Coon Rapids trailing 34-28 at the break. They continue to chip away early in the second. Casey Beck steps up and hits a three. That gets the Cardinals back within 4. But the Blue Jackets really start to buzz after that. They keep feeding Aumer, and she just chews up the Cardinals. Another three-pointer from the right corner. That was the start of a big spurt for Cambridge Isani. On the run, it's Aumer again. She gets the bucket and the foul. She had 40 points to lead her team to the finals and the Cardinals season with a 70-43 Blue Jacket win. There you see it. Number 1 versus number 2 in the section final. The Blue Jackets travel to take on Forest Lake. The Rangers had the bye in the first round and beat the Andover Huskies by 24, 78-54 in the semifinal on Tuesday.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it. It was a tough season for the Lady Cardinals, but that win over Blaine is a signature win for the program.
Oh,
because,
for sure.
Because they certainly were not expected to win in that game, and they hadn't. But we talked about it with Coach Wico. They've been playing well at the right time of the season. Didn't get the W's, but they're playing close games, and they felt they had a great matchup with Blaine, and it was a good win for them. And then unfortunately they ran into a buzzsaw in Cambridge.
And Aumer.
Yeah, and
mostly.
Aumer. Yeah,
40 points.
Exactly. 40. That's a lot of points.
That's a good night.
It's young-like.
Good. Yeah, right. So, well, and it was so much fun to be there, you know. And before I left, they say, he came to me and said, you know, if we're doing a basketball game on Saturday, will you do it? I said,
yeah,
sure,
absolutely.
I'll do it. I'm back on Friday. I can do a game. And then when I saw it was a doubleheader, I was like, oh, that's a tough way to return from vacation, jump right into a doubleheader.
Right.
But what fun it was.
It was so much fun.
So glad that we were able to be there.
Yep.
Wish we could have had the full truck and the full production. But, you know, to be there and be part of it and do the single camera webcast I'm so glad that we were there for that.
It was very memorable, and that's something we'll always have in our memories.
Just a great night for both teams, and just a huge feather in the cap of the girls team, especially because they had struggled so much. And it's a team that had played well in spurts, but they could never seem to put 36 minutes together. Like, the first time they played Blaine, they were down like double digits at the half,
right?
And they came back and made it close, but they just couldn't get all the way back. And that was kind of the storyline for that team all year long is slow starts, strong finishes, but not strong enough. And they put it all together, and they came out flying to start that game.
They did,
and it was a lot of fun to be there and to witness that, and to get them some coverage in a game that means a lot, not only for them but for the program.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and again, it's something that is a signature win for that program. That's important. Those are important wins.
Yeah, and chances are we are done with events for the winter season. Knock on wood, the boys get to the state tournament. We'll see if we can work something out.
Maybe get one game.
But it's unlikely.
Right.
Especially, it's unlikely in the best of games.
Yep.
In the best of years, but in a COVID year, it's even more unlikely. But we'll do what we can. We certainly hope to have video highlights of both the section final and also the state tournament wrestling for you next week on Sportsnight. Maybe a couple of other surprises that we might try and sprinkle in there for you. But there you see it. It's baseball season. Baseball coming up against Minnetonka. That's the season opener. That will be at Wintercrest on Saturday the 10th, weather permitting. We're going to do some boys tennis on Thursday the 15th and some softball against the Blaine Bengals on Thursday the 16th. Thursday the 15th and Thursday the 16th. I don't know how that works. Some of those dates are... My math might not be right, but I don't think Thursday...
I think you're correct in this
I don't
situation.
think Thursday can be both the 15th and the 16th. If I'm mistaken, that could be, but I don't think you can have that. But we're going to have some games for you, for sure. But it may be a while. We will have a sports night next week. We will have highlights of the boys basketball championship game. We hope to have highlights, and at least we'll have results for you of the state championship for the wrestling team. And now, who knows? Maybe we'll have some state champions in the
let's hope so.
in the studio to talk and shave Howie's mustache.
Oh yeah, well, we'll see about that.
But that's going to do it for this edition of CTN's Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us to continue to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Dave Emmy behind the camera and Howie Shapiro to my right, I'm Joe Young saying